as we are considering our youth, our young people, for this youth revival. Genesis chapter 37, verses 2 to 4. Genesis 37, verses 2 to 4. In the New International Version, it reads, "This is the account of Jacob's family line. Joseph, a young man of 17, was tending the flocks with his brothers, the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And he brought their father a bad report about them. Now Israel," please know that that's Jacob, Joseph's father. Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, because he had been born to him in his old age. And he made him an ornate robe for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. So I want to talk about when youth face trouble. When youth face trouble. Now that may sound a little different in the ears of some of us. If we are adults, we may say, when youth face trouble, I mean, trouble for a young person, they don't have to go to work.
Talk about it.
All they have to do is go to school, maybe do a few chores, but they don't have to pay any bills. What do you mean when youth face trouble? What kind of trouble can young people possibly have? Well, on last evening, youth facing trouble, it became really real to me. On last night, I received a telephone call. It was a mother who was calling me about her daughter. This little girl and the mom, they were in the car, and they received a telephone call. The call was from the father. The father said to the mother, and the young lady, the little girl, could hear the conversation. The father said, "I've just been pulled over by the police, so I'm going to be late." So she says, okay. She says, "Well, do you need me to come? Do you need anything?" He said, "No, I just wanted you to know." She said, "Well, what happened?" He said, "Well, I was driving and the light was yellow. It turned red as I eased under the light. So they stopped me for running a red light." And so she said, "Well, okay." She said, "Well, what color, what's the race of the police officer? Is the police officer black or is he white?"
Talk about it.
The man says to his wife, "He's a white police officer." She said, "Well, okay." He said, "But I'll call you back." And she says, "Okay." Well, she looks over in the passenger seat and she sees her daughter shaking and crying. She looks to her daughter and she says, "What's wrong? What's wrong with you?" She says, "My daddy may not come home." She says, "What do you mean?" She says, "I just heard the conversation and I heard him say that the police pulled him over. I may never see my dad again." So the mom, she realizes in that moment that her daughter was afraid because, you see, the child's father is black.
Yes.
And in that child's mind, because of the current climate in America, the child faced trouble. A troublesome moment. So the mother called me and asked me, "Would you please just pray with us?" So I said a prayer and I checked on them on today and all is well. But again, because of the current climate, because this little girl has watched television, and she's seen so many cases. And of course, we know that not all police officers are bad. We know, but the point is, there are young people among us who are facing trouble. So then that means that when we see a child and perhaps they're not performing well in school, before we rush to judgment, to say that this child is not paying attention in class, or to say that this child cannot learn, or to say that they need to be on medication, it may be trouble. The fact is, there are a lot of things that young people have to deal with these days. I went and researched 10 top things that teenagers face. The first thing, teenage troubles. The first thing is drugs. They also face the pressure of studying, pressure in a relationship, the constant need to look good, constant pressure to excel in all aspects of life, uncertainty about the future, drinking and smoking, depression, addiction to social networking, and eating disorders. Those are the top 10 things that our young people are facing. The type of trouble that they see every day, that they don't always feel comfortable or feel that they have a trusted adult that they can talk to. This is why it is a blessing that you have chosen to have youth revival this week. Because young people need a revival. Revival is so good because what it does is it refreshes us. It reminds us that there still is a God who cares even when we face trouble. I'm here because I need to hear from the Lord. Amen. But today's young people aren't the only young people who face trouble. Our text tells us that Joseph was 17 years old. At 17, we read a lot about Joseph. We know about how Joseph said, you meant it for bad, but God meant it for my good. We know a lot about Joseph. We know that God made Joseph a great leader. We know that Joseph was a forgiving man. But in this text, Joseph is a youth. And Joseph is facing trouble. I believe that there are at least 3 types of trouble that Joseph, at this young age, at 17, is facing. The first thing, just like our young people in 2017, Joseph may have been facing identity issues.
Talk about it.
We have to understand that Joseph was tending to the flock. So Joseph would have had to be a faithful steward.
Amen.
The responsibility was to get up early and to lead the sheep, and he had to lead from the front. He would march these sheep at 17 years old.
17.
He would march them to find pasture. After they found pasture, his work was not done. He would watch them all day, making sure that there was no hurt, harm, or danger coming to these sheep. Then he would have to seek out water for them to drink. He would look and he would be responsible, making sure there was a well over here that was dug. Then in the wilderness, they could drink from that well. If there was a stream over here, they could drink. So he had to be responsible.
Amen.
At night, he would lead the flock home, and he would count them one by one. And if one of them was missing, he would diligently seek them out. But even at night, this 17-year-old's work was not done. He would have to watch, because there would be those in the dark hour, wild beasts or others who may try to harm the sheep. He was a faithful steward.
Amen.
But again, he may have been dealing with identity issues, because one may say that he was a faithful steward, but someone else may say that Joseph was a telltale. You see, the text says that Joseph went and reported about his brothers to the father. So, identity issues. Am I a faithful steward, or am I a snitch? And you know what they say about snitches, don't you? Snitches get stitches and end up in ditches. Joseph telling on his brothers. Sometimes for young people, they battle with identity issues. You see, there's the way the world sees them, and then there's the way they see themselves. When I was a little girl, my mom used to tell me all the time that I was beautiful. But when I looked into the mirror, I thought something very different. You see, I thought that there was something wrong with the color of my skin. It wasn't a problem of me being black, but it was the shade of black that God had chosen for me. God, why did you choose this shade? Why couldn't you go lighter than a brown paper bag?
Come on.
Why did you choose this shade?
Come on, be real.
When I smile, all I see is the whiteness of my teeth and the whiteness of my eyes. I'm so black, God. Why did you you're beautiful. But it wasn't until I was in Jesus Christ and I realized that because I was made in the very image of God, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the tone of my skin. But I had to learn, because there were very few baby dolls that had this skin tone. Very few baby dolls that had this hair texture. Very few baby dolls who had the spread of my nose and the fullness of my lips. So then the world was saying to me subconsciously that there was something wrong with me. Oh, but when I got Jesus, when I got Jesus, Jesus taught me how to hold my head up high. When I got Jesus, Jesus taught me that he truly loves me. And you see, when you start with Jesus, when you have love from God, the Lord teaches you how to love yourself. So Joseph, love yourself and know who you are. You're a faithful steward.
Amen.
That's what you are.
Amen.